Fans, welcome to episode 2 of Sports Chat. With some minor technical difficulties, we got the first one up. We got a lot to talk about today, including a new UT basketball coach. Kind of shocked us. We got one that hired that quick. The Final Four is happening this weekend. Got some stuff to talk about coaching situations in Campbell County. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about Coach Cuonzo Martin.
Yeah, he was hired really quickly by the UT Athletic Department. Surprise name.
Surprisingly, yeah.
You know, most people hadn't heard of him before. Apparently, they felt that he was the man for the job after his first interview. They called him back and
you know,
took the job.
after the UT hired him, he got what 3, 4 awards.
He did get several coaching awards for his previous work at Missouri State. He really, that program made a big turnaround when he took over.
Yeah, he inherited a bad situation there. They had been a decent team the few years before that, but the team he inherited only had 5 scholarship players, and 2 of those were injured. He only had 3 players who played in every game that season.
And the first season, 11 wins.
After that,
What was it, 25
he won
wins?
24 wins, the next year, then I think 26 wins this year. He won 50 games the last 2 years. Purdue, who's really worried about losing their coach to the University of Missouri, that was their plan. They were going to hire Cuonzo Martin, so we went ahead with it and managed to hire him. Now, he was only making $145,000 a year at Missouri State,
So he got a big
he
raise.
got a big raise. Still, a lot of people are complaining that Tennessee won't pay its coaches, and that we end up with coaches from small schools you never heard of because they won't.
What are we
Someone made the point. John Calipari at Kentucky, he makes more money by $1.5 million than Derek Dooley and Cuonzo Martin combined.
Wow.
And Kentucky's athletic budget is significantly less than Tennessee's because they don't have the football revenue. Tennessee's one of maybe 7 schools, I think, in the country that have over $100 million a year
Athletic budgets.
And, a lot of people are upset and complaining that we're just not paying our coaches.
Personally, I think a lot of coaches get paid too much, but
That's an argument for a different story. But to compete, the people are
Right.
upset that we don't go out and Alabama throws a boatload of money at Nick Saban. Kentucky throws a boatload at John Calipari.
Okay, Nick Saban. To compare Nick Saban to anybody is really unfair.
He is the premier coach in college football.
Well, he's a
right
great
now.
coach, but the point is that Tennessee didn't make a large offer to anybody. People say they go on the cheap every time out and try not to pay anybody any money and hope for the best with it. And that may be what they do. I think Martin's going to be a good coach. I think Dooley's going to be a good coach, but you just don't know because Tennessee doesn't try to get the premier coach.
That's one of those things. We're easy to cherry pick a coach from because of that.
Yeah,
that
doesn't help.
Look how quick Lane Kiffin just bolted. And granted, he would have probably bolted for USC anyway. That was his dream job.
Right. Well, and he may have had a good feeling that the NCAA would be coming to town probably after him.
That's true.
Yeah, and it turns out they were.
Now,
But Coach Martin, he's already hired one assistant. He's looking to fill his staff out. He's not yet met with Kevin Ware, who has been released from his national letter of intent officially, but is still willing to talk to Coach Martin.
We did get good news. Chris Jones said he would honor his letter of intent, and if he can qualify, and there's some questions whether he can qualify academically, he will be attending the University of Tennessee next fall. And he's really a top-notch point guard.
Also on the UT front, spring practice well underway. There's a surprise of all on the football field right now. Melvin Goins, formerly point guard under Bruce Pearl, has played his 4 years of basketball. But if he enrolls in grad school, will still have a year of football eligibility to play.
Melvin, he's very athletic to say the least. He's fast, he's strong. You can see he's built like a little Sherman tank. He's apparently been practicing at the strong safety or free safety position.
And that's an area that UT needs some help on. And I've told people it's really good from a football coach's perspective to have your defensive backs play basketball. because you play a lot of zone and man defense in basketball, and that's what your defensive backs do. Well, this is kind of the opposite situation. We're getting a basketball player that hopefully can come in and help us in the secondary.
He may come in and be able to play. I'm not sure. Coach Dooley was joking around about it and had a great quote. He said Melvin averaged 1.7 steals a game as a point guard. He said if you can do that here for Tennessee, you'll be an All-American this year.
That's true. I mean,
that would be about 20 interceptions on the season.
Which wouldn't break my heart.
And that probably wouldn't break Coach Dooley's.
Also, on the UT front, SEC play has started in baseball rather, and it's starting to look like the Tom Raleigh teams of old.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. The SEC is a tough baseball league, and Tennessee got off to a hot start, but not against the strongest competition. We'll see how it goes through the SEC season.
And some locally related professional football news, even though we don't even know there's going to be an NFL season this year or whatever. But unfortunately, Chad Pennington looks like he's actually probably done this time. He tore his ACL in a pickup basketball game. Chad's had just such a number of surgeries. This one's going to be hard to come back from.
I can't really see why that you would be playing pickup basketball in that situation. I know, I get it. Athletes, they like to play, it's fine. But, when your body is that important and you're making millions of dollars a year from it, usually it's in contracts that you're not allowed to play other sports.
Right.
You're not allowed to ride motorcycles, things like that. And every year it seems like there's someone who gets hurt on a motorcycle accident or something like that when they weren't supposed to be on. I think Ben Roethlisberger did that.
Roethlisberger did it
years ago. And I've known some other people to do it before as well. And some baseball player, I don't follow baseball that closely, which is, also kicked off this weekend. But some other baseball player did that and cost himself literally millions and millions of dollars because they voided his contract. And he was making around $10 million a year and messed his shoulder up.
And that was it. I mean, you're in violation of your terms. We're not paying you this. So Chad, as much as I hate to see him go because he's proudly from this area.
Yeah, Chad's a good Campbell County guy. He never shies away from it. This is his home. I imagine he's probably going to live here. He owns a boat dock or two and on Norris Lake, and he's most likely going to live here the rest of his life. He could live anywhere in the world with his well.
And he does good things. He had his clinics and summer programs. Excellent.
His summer camp at Webb is one of the best football-related programs I've ever seen. He brings in just some top-notch people to work at Camp Pennington.
We'll see if that's not the death knell for a career, but Chad's older now and he's been on the borderline of starting or not. So
now I actually coached against Chad when he started at Webb during my very brief tenure as a coach at Campbell County High School, and Chad, like I said, he's proudly from this area. I mean, the NFL's loss could be Lake City Middle School's game. That's where his dad coaches at now.
I will say this, Chad, I can think of is probably the top athlete to ever come from Campbell County.
Oh, he is. He's played his sport on the highest level.
Now, there's been a few players back in the 50s, 40s that played for General Neyland, came out of La Follette High School.
Of course, more recently you got Paul Provins in track.
Paul Provins great in track, but as starting NFL quarterback, that's one of the elite things. When you think about it, there's only
32 of them in the whole world at any given time.
There's only going to be a couple of hundred, several hundred players that ever are a starting quarterback in the NFL. Right. In any given 20 or 30 year span. It's just an elite position to be able to get into.
And Chad, he literally, when he was at Webb, kid was a beanpole. I mean, you would not look at him and think this guy will play in the NFL. He goes up to Marshall. Of course, he gets on a decent weight regimen. Just happens to have this guy named Randy Moss to throw to. Gets some recognition and acclaim, and before you know it, he's starting for the New York Jets. Later moves on to the Dolphins. He's had a good career. He's been the comeback player of the year twice. And I honestly wouldn't put it past him to go for the trifecta in that one.
We'll see. Those ACLs are tough to overcome. It usually takes at least a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to get
you're
back to 100%.
even your first year back from it, you're not gonna be hitting on all cylinders.
He wasn't the most mobile quarterback anyway, so I'm not even. We'll see how much it affects him. He may be able to make it back. We're hope for the best for Chad.
Like I said, I mean, he's one of the people when interviewed, if they refer to him as being from Knoxville, Tennessee, he's like, no, I'm from Wafallet, Tennessee.
Yeah,
So
I've always heard him make that distinction. He's a good guy.
you know, more of the nationwide sporting news, like I said, Major League Baseball has kicked off. It's, you know, a lot of people, this is their favorite time of year for sports because you've still got the NCAA tournament going on. I'll tell you a sporting event that I watch every year that a lot of people have never seen it is the Frozen Four, the college hockey finals. And obviously we don't have any real college hockey around here. UT has a club level team. A lot of the teams around the South have club level teams.
I just actually saw a story where Alabama is making theirs a scholarship sport.
Wow. I can't believe I'd ever praise Alabama for anything, but go Bama on
Honestly,
that.
Nick Saban is bringing in so much money that they're going to have time to build a college hockey team.
You know, and in theory, we could do that at UT
Well,
if we had a
if we weren't
athletic
on the
director
cheap
or
constantly.
yeah. I mean, we've already got a facility, the professional rinks there.
Mm-hmm.
You know that I guarantee the Ice Bears would support the heck out of them.
In fact, the home games for the club was at the Civic Center on the Ice Bears rink.
After the Ice Bears games.
Yeah.
And fans, we're getting ready to wrap up this first segment of Sports Chat here. You know, we'll be back in segment 2. We're going to talk about some college basketball, talk about some high school sports, a lot of good stuff happening on the spring sports level. So we will see you in segment 2 of Sports Chat coming up soon.